Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Isri bin Muhammad Yusuf. My matrix number 1193052, and I will present about the introduction. Okay, as you can see from the right side of the slide is the name of the team members, which consists of 7 members. We are instructed to choose 3 banks and 3 years of for financial report purpose of the asset and the liabilities of the bank, and we pick up from for the years is 2018 till 2020, and for the bank we pick up Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, CIMB Islamic Berhad, and Maybank Group Islamic Banking. In this assignment, we will discuss about the asset and the liability side of the bank, and we'll do a comparison between these 3 banks. But before we go through the discussion, we might want to know about little bit about the foundation of these 3 banks. Okay, for the first Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, it was launched in 1st July 1983. The establishment of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad was inspired by Bumiputra Economic Congress held in 1980 and seminar on concept of development in Islamic held in 1981. And for additional information, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad was officially announced by Tun Dr. Mahathir, who is the 4th and 8th Prime Minister of Malaysia. For the second bank, which is CIMB Islamic Berhad, CIMB was firstly put in conventional bank, and it opens Islamic window in 2nd June 2003. And one of the achievement in CIMB Islamic Berhad is it has do a joint venture with Principal Financial Group in the area of Islamic fund management. Last but not least is the Maybank Group Islamic Banking. Is one of the Islamic banking is one of the leading in offering of Islamic banking product and services in the Asian region. Maybank Group Islamic Banking not only open in Malaysia but also in Labuan, Hong Kong, London, and Indonesia respectively. And this bank leading in type of the asset and liabilities respectively also.
The purpose and importance of the type of this asset is divided into 7. The first one is cash. This asset need to be maintained in the event of the undesirable events such as low yield, declining asset, and liquidity that cannot cover bank commitment. It is also important to keep the cash. The next one is interbank financing. It means payment and redeposit of capital among banking institution. It is a financial management strategy in enhancing asset where bank financing with other banks has a positive impact in the financial market. The next one is trade security. The advantage of this instrument purchase is to increase profit in the near future. Next is the investment security. The priority of investing in the security is to get lucrative return. Okay, next is loan or financing, which is bank offer loan using method and transaction that comply with Islamic Sharia. The next one is other asset. It include all balance sheet asset account not covered specifically in the other areas of the supervisory activity, such as such account are frequently insignificant in terms of the bank's overall financial condition. And the last one is statutory deposit with Bank Negara. As in the Bank Negara Malaysia, statutory deposit is a tool for managing liquidity, which are not a signal of monetary policy attitude. The monetary size of the asset compared to the total asset banks and the reason for the average size of the type of asset. This have seven. The first one is cash. Bank Islamic Malaysia Berhad has a cash which is 0.045%. CIMB Islamic Berhad has 0.11% and Maybank Islamic Berhad has 0.14%. For the interbank financing, the average for this type are 0.02%, 0.002%, and 0.13% for Bank Islamic Malaysia Berhad, CIMB Islamic Berhad, and Maybank Islamic Berhad respectively. For the trade security, Maybank Islamic Berhad has the highest rate, which is 0.08% when compared to other bank in this category. So that CIMB Islamic Berhad has the second highest, which is 0.05%, while the Bank Islamic Berhad has the lowest rate, which is 0.01%. Okay, next is investment security. Bank Islamic Malaysia Berhad has the highest rate of the return on investment in security at 0.8%, while Maybank Islamic Berhad has a rate of return on investment of 0.5% and CIMB has 0 in this category. Okay, next, loans or financing. Maybank Islamic Berhad has the highest loan rate at 12%, followed by the CIMB Islamic Berhad at 0.8% and Bank Islamic Malaysia Berhad at 0.7%. Next is other asset. Maybank Islamic Berhad obtained the top percentage for other asset, which is 0.03%. CIMB Islamic Berhad held a 0.006% stake, while the Bank Islamic Malaysia Berhad held a 0.002% stake. The last one is statutory deposit with Bank Negara. The proportion that legal store prerequisites still unaltered, which is 0% in Bank Negara. And CIMB Islamic Berhad has the highest rate of other bank among the three banks.
My name is Nur Fatihah binti Rahimat. My number matric is 1192243. Now, I will proceed about the risk that the bank run due to the holding the type of asset. Basically, they have three types of risk, which is credit risk, operational risk, and market risk. Credit risk is when borrower or counterparties fail to meet contractual obligations. It is known as default. Mortgage, credit cards, and fixed income instruments are all susceptible to default. Failure to meet contractual obligations can also occur in areas such as derivatives and given guarantees. Next is operational risk. Operational risk is the risk of loss due to errors, interruption, or damage that caused by people's system or processes. Simple company operations such as retail banking and asset management have a low operational risk, whereas sales and trading have a larger operational risk. Last is market risk. Market risk is mostly caused by a bank's capital market activities, and it is because equities market, commodity price, interest rates, and credit spreads are all unpredictable. Diversification of investments is critical for reducing market risk. Next, we move to the methods or instruments that the bank use to hedge the risk of assets. First, let me explain about what is the hedge. The hedge is an investment made with the intention of reducing the risk of an asset's price moving in the wrong position. The methods that bank can use is first, derivative. Derivative is to reduce the risk involved in the bank's operations. In the derivative markets, the bank plays two roles. In the over-the-counter market, banks act as brokers, matching sellers and buyers and receiving commission fees. Therefore, banks also participate directly in derivative markets as buyers or sellers, which is they are derivatives and end users. Therefore, there is a swap method, which is parties to a swap agreement agree to trade sets of cash flows over a future period. Both parties benefit financially from swaps because the cash flows are compatible with their own asset and liability arrangements. Given that both parties benefit from swaps and that these contracts are in high demand, there should be no difficulties to using them as long as they are Sharia compliant. Other than that, there is a method that bank can use to hedge the risk, which is forward or future contract. Forward or future contract can be divided by two, which is salam and commodity futures and currency forward and futures. Salam and commodity futures. Futures contracts provide enormous risk management and control possibilities. Commodity forwards and futures contracts are used by traditional banks to control risk. Unlike salam, payment of the commodity price is postponed to a later date in these arrangements. Currency forward and futures. Most Islamic banks with significant exposure to foreign exchange risk use currency forwards and future for hedging purpose. However, all fiqh experts believe that such transactions are prohibited under the Sharia. There is no question that riba will be involved since it is a source of income and hedging does not create income. Hence, hedging also can reduce an element of gharar.
Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Anas bin Muhammad Jeffrey. My number metric is 1193053. Okay, so today I would like to present about the importance of type of liabilities. So as we know, liabilities is can be classified into three, which is current liability, non-current liability, and also contingent. So for current liability, it is a kind of short-term debt where it used to measure the sufficient liquidity of current assets for the obligation. Then the non-current is a long-term debt where it is used to create future decisions. And the last, contingent, which is only occur depend on future project and it will recorded only 50% of probable project.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I will explain about monetary size of assets compared to total asset of banks and reason for the average size of the types of liabilities. Monetary items are any assets or liabilities with a fixed value that will not change in future. Example of monetary item are cash, market securities, account receivable, sales tax payable and not payable. Based on data, there are three banks which Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, CIMB Islamic Berhad and Maybank Islamic Berhad. The highest total of assets of Bank Islam Berhad and CIMB Islamic Berhad in 2020 is highest than two previous years, which are 774, 010, 0977 and 103, 151, 897. Maybank Islamic Berhad recorded the highest total asset in 2018, which 169, 483, 756. Monetary liabilities are certain responsibility to pay these obligations. Amount is not dependent on the result of future events. Trades payable, notes payable, and wage payables are examples of monetary liabilities.
Alright, now we proceed to the risk bank runs due to exposure of liabilities. So we have 8. Firstly, customer funding, risk and lost trust from depositors. Second, deposits and interbank placement, which is the problem spread to other banks' balance sheet. The third, obligation on repo, depreciation of bank securities involved before maturity date. And the fourth, financial liabilities, which is risk tend to high interest rate. And then number 5, bills and acceptance payable, which is risk to additional operating expenses. and sometimes it's can lead to the loss or maybe theft of bills, and maybe can be frauds, which is scam. So and the six borrowings, which is increment of interest rate due to unable to return on specified period. So the seven Takaful liabilities, which is fraud or scam agency, or maybe we the institution have a problem due to payment, which is they must pay with a consistency. And the last is subordinate obligations, which is the risk is required long time period. Do they need to settle the senior debt first? So that's all from me. Thank you.
This or instruments that bank use to hedge the risk pertaining to these types of liabilities includes the use of collateral or securities. Bank needs to provide collateral once customer creates fundings or financing to banks for protect if any losses occur in the future. Use for credit risk, particularly in foreign exchange and derivative transaction. Bank has made use of collateral assessment and management. The importance that things are to cover or reduce the risk of potential loss. Next, sets the liquidity and appetite risk limits. And the last, complete control over its trading portfolio and activities.
In comparison, in the customer funding, the most total of customer funding for 3 years compared with Bank Islam and CIMB Islamic is Maybank Islamic. And in the obligation on repo, all three Islamic bank does not have important source of funds for large financial institution in the non-depository banking sector. While in the deposit and interbank placement, Maybank Islamic Bank showed a positive sign for interbank deposit and placement with an increase for past 3 years, 2018 to 2020. While in the financial liabilities, Bank Islam for total of financial liabilities still high in 2020.
Bill and acceptance payable liability refers to a person or company indebtedness. It could be funds borrowed for a short time from others bank. So based on the table, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad increased from 2018 to 2019, which is 49,084, and dropped in 2020, which is 29,621. Meanwhile, Maybank Islamic also increased in 2018 to 2019, which is 11,050 to 137,893, and dropped in 2020, which is 38,086. Next, CIMB Classic Bank, the CIMB Islamic Bank has increased from 2018 to 2019, which is 465,301 to 581,780, and has dropped in 2020, which is 469,317. For the conclusion, CIMB Islamic Bank is a large amount of bill and acceptance bill compared with other banks. Next is Takaful. It's a type of Islamic insurance in which member pools their resources to protect one another against loss and harms. So first, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, the payable amount of Takaful in 2019 is higher than 2018 and 2020, which total is 8,490. Secondly, Maybank Islamic in 2020 was higher payable amount for Takaful than 2018 and 2019, which is 356,302. And next, CIMB Islamic Bank has increased from 2018 to 2019, which is 9,552 to 10,254, and decreased in 2020, which is 6,068 and in conclusion, it shows Maybank Islamic is higher liabilities and payable for Takaful in 2018 to 2020. Okay, on this IMB, Islamic Bank has borrowing item in these 3 years. So, our primary sources of financing customer deposit and investment account grew by 5.8% in 2019 with a modest decline in the composition of the overall funding sources, but still reflecting a good cushion in funding the loan book. In 2019, the group loans advanced and financing expanded by 6.7%, resulting in a sustained increase in net interest income. According to the table, it climbed by total 5,669 from 2018 to 2019 and declined by total 5,821 in 2020. In terms of claim on asset or earning, a subordinated obligation is an unsecured loan or bond that rank below the more senior loan or securities. So, based on the table, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad has increased in 3 years from 2018 to 2020, which is from 1,308,634 to 1,713,164. Meanwhile, Maybank Islamic has constantly decreased in 3 years from 2018 to 2020, which is 2,534,301 to 2,028,303. And next, CIMB Islamic Bank increased from 2018 to 2019, which is from 615,033 to 1,118,336, and decreased in 2020 at 1,118,255. In summary, the higher amount of subordinated obligation is Maybank Islamic Bank compared with than others two banks.
Explain about the conclusion. Okay, in a nutshell, the success of a bank is dependent on its capacity to handle its liabilities, because liabilities is the source of the fund for the bank, and this source of the fund will be turned into the asset, and we know that asset can create revenue for the bank, and this revenue is quite safe to say is their profit or income. Fourth, the role model in Islamic Bank in this assignment, from our assignment point of view, we can say that Maybank Islamic is the role model, because it's not only leading in Malaysia but also in Asia, as we mentioned earlier in the introduction part. Thank you very much.